Did you know patience is quantifiable, not in some abstract spiritual sense, not as a personality trait you're born with or without, like eye color or a talent for music? I mean mathematically measurable, right now, by you, in the next 30 seconds. Here's how. Tell me your longest term plan. The one thing you're actively working on today that has the furthest finish line, where you wake up every single morning with the option to quit and you don't. Is it 1 month away? 1 year? 5? 10? That number, that's your patience, quantified. But wait, that can't be the whole picture. There are millions of people enrolled in 4-year college degrees right now. Can we honestly say every single one of them possesses 4 years of patience? That doesn't sound right. Something's missing. Here's what's missing: the vending machine. Imagine a vending machine, not the one in your office lobby with Kit Kats and stale chips. This one is different. This one contains everything you've ever wanted, a body that moves the way you've always imagined it could, a mind sharp enough to solve problems that currently defeat you, fluency in a language that right now sounds like beautiful noise, the ability to run a marathon, to play an instrument, to build something that outlasts you. Everything's there, behind the glass, waiting. The catch: this machine doesn't accept money, it only accepts time. And not just any time, committed time. Time you've already decided to spend before you even know which button you'll press. Each item has a price, not in dollars, in years. The machine accepts only one kind of currency, patience, but it comes in different denominations. Some coins say 30 days, some say a year, some say 5, some say 10. If you want the fit body treat, the price tag might read 3 years. If you want the financial freedom treat, the price tag might read 12 years. You cannot haggle, you cannot kick the machine. You have to insert a coin that is minted with that specific duration. If you only possess a 30-day coin, you can insert it into the slot for the 3-year body. But the machine will just eat it and give you nothing. You'll quit after a month, frustrated, wondering why the coil didn't turn. It didn't turn because you tried to buy a Ferrari with a handful of pennies. Now, you might say, well, I'm in college, that's a 4-year degree, so I have 4 years of patience. Not necessarily. There is a difference between driving a car and falling asleep on a train. Plenty of people enter a 4-year degree because it's the path of least resistance. Real patience isn't about being enrolled in something. It's about arriving at that machine, scanning every option, selecting the thing you want most, and then knowing exactly how long it costs, inserting your years anyway. That's the multi-purpose coin. The one you can spend anywhere, on anything, on your terms. To truly have a 5-year coin means you possess a multi-purpose token. It means you could walk up to that vending machine, look at any prize that costs 5 years, whether it's writing a novel, building a business, or mastering the violin, and you have the capacity to pay the price. Patience is what you're actively waiting for, with an exit door available every single day. The question isn't whether the machine exists. Most people can sense it does. The question is, what's the biggest coin you actually carry? One of most valuable thing you'll ever own isn't money, talent, or intelligence. It's the length of the line you're willing to stand in without leaving. I'm 34 years old. My patience capacity right now is 5 years. That's my coin. I don't have a single pursuit in motion that stretches to 10 years. But I have several 5-year commitments running simultaneously, including these videos, one a day, for 5 years, until the machine dispenses whatever's waiting on the other side. And I know this isn't some trait I was born with. You know why? Because when I was 10 years old, I never did anything for 5 years. I never did anything for 1 year. Have you ever met a 10-year-old who has? Maybe a handful. Prodigies with instruments, young athletes with dreams. But most kids can barely commit to a hobby for a summer. So if patience isn't innate, how does it grow? Picture the coin like a muscle. You don't walk into a gym on day 1 and deadlift 300 pounds. You start with the bar. You fail. You add weight. You fail again. You keep showing up until one day you lift something that would have crushed you 6 months ago. Patience works the same way. You commit to 30 days of something, anything. You finish. Not because it's easy, but because you decided. Then you do 60, then 90. You prove to yourself, not to anyone else, that whatever you set your mind to for a month, you complete. then a year, then more. Each completed commitment expands your coin, adds time to what you're capable of betting on yourself. When you look through the glass, you usually look at the front row, the things you can get in 6 months or a year, but the machine is deep. Way in the back, in the shadows, covered in dust and spiderwebs, are the treats that cost 10 years, 20 years, a lifetime. If you never mint the heavy coins, you will never even see those items. They remain invisible to you. You can't desire what you can't afford to imagine. Let me explain. If your patience capacity is 30 days, you can only see 30-day rewards. Losing a few pounds, finishing a book, learning the basics of a skill. Those are real, those are valuable, but they're at the front of the machine. Expand to 1 year, and suddenly new rows appear. Transformations that require seasons, relationships that deepen through actual time, expertise that can't be rushed, expand to 5, and the architecture of your possibilities shifts again. Now you can see career pivots that actually stick, creative bodies of work, physical capabilities that seemed reserved for other people. But 10 years? 20? I can't even imagine most of what's back there. Neither can you. Because we haven't minted the coin that would let us browse that section of the machine. This is the cruel irony. The people who need patience most are the ones who can't see what patience would give them. They're standing at a vending machine, staring at the front row, thinking that's all there is. You've probably seen The Shawshank Redemption. Andy Dufresne, wrongfully imprisoned. 20 years behind walls for a crime he didn't commit. And for most of that time, unbeknownst to anyone, he was digging with a rock hammer the size of a toothbrush, through concrete and stone and seemingly impossible distance. 19 years of digging. If Andy only had a 1-year coin in his pocket, he would have scratched that wall for 365 days, seen he had only made a dent, and dropped the hammer. He would have died in that cell, not because escape was impossible, but because he couldn't perceive a reward that lived 19 years away. The walls didn't keep Andy prisoner. Insufficient patience would have. And here's the thing, Red says, these walls are funny. First you hate them, then you get used to them. After enough time, you come to depend on them. That's the real danger. Not the walls themselves, the forgetting. The moment you stop picturing yourself on the other side, the moment the vending machine glass becomes a mirror, and you stop seeing what's behind it. Most prisons aren't made of concrete. They're made of habits, assumptions, timelines we've accepted without realizing it. We're all sitting in some prison of limitation. Some of them are obvious. Circumstances, resources, geography. But the deepest one, the one with the thickest walls, it's the belief that patience isn't something we can expand. Patience is the tunnel. It is the only escape route that physics allows. I've heard so many people say it. Maybe you've said it yourself. I'm just not a patient person. As if it were written somewhere, carved in stone, a fact about themselves as unchangeable as their height or the color of their eyes. But here's the truth that changes everything. You're not impatient. You're untrained. There's an enormous difference. When someone tells you they're not a patient person, what they're actually saying is that their patience muscle has never been systematically developed. They've never run the 30-day experiments, never proved to themselves what they're capable of waiting for. And yes, some people start with a handicap. Their baseline is lower. Patience comes harder for them than for others. But that's not a curse. That might actually be a gift. Because the harder it is at the start, the more resistance you face. With every repetition, the further the muscle can eventually grow. People for whom patience comes easy often plateau early. People who struggle, they have room to become exceptional. The treats in that vending machine, the ones at the back, the ones you can't even see yet, they cost years. There's no coupon, no hack, no way to game the system. A body that can do extraordinary things, years. Mastery of a craft that commands respect, years. Financial freedom that doesn't evaporate, years. And the currency is non-transferable. Nobody else can insert their coin for you. The years have to be yours, spent deliberately on something you chose. So ask yourself, What happens if you arrive at the end, whatever end means for you, and the things you wanted most are still sitting behind that glass, covered in dust, untouched, spider webs in the corners. Not because they were impossible, not because you weren't capable, but because you never minted a coin large enough to buy them. So how do you actually do this? How do you take a 30-day coin and turn it into 5 years, into 10? It starts with proof, not motivation, not inspiration. Proof. You have to show yourself through completed action that you can be trusted with time. That when you say you'll do something for a month, it happens. Not because life was easy that month, but because you decided it would happen regardless. Start small, absurdly small if you have to. Commit to something for 30 days that you know you can finish. Then finish it. Now you have evidence. You have a reference experience. You have a seed of proof that your word to yourself means something. Next, 45 days, then 60, then 90. Each completion isn't just about that specific goal. It's about expanding your capacity. You're not just learning French or building muscle or writing pages. You're minting a larger coin. You're becoming someone who can bet on themselves over longer timescales. And here's the compounding magic. As your coin grows, treats you couldn't see before start appearing, the machine itself seems to expand, not because reality changed, but because your perception did. Waiting changes not just what you get, but what you can want. Alex Hormozi said, if you can wait 90 days for a result, you can win. If you can wait a year, you can win big. If you can wait a decade, you can become the best. If you can wait a lifetime, you can change the world. Read that again. Let it settle. He's not talking about talent. He's not talking about intelligence or luck. He's talking about the only input that determines which row of the vending machine you get access to. Most people are fighting over the 90-day rewards. That's crowded. Everyone can see those. Everyone's reaching for them. Fewer people are playing year-long games. The competition thins out. By the time you get to decade-long pursuits, you're practically alone. Not because others couldn't do it, but because they couldn't perceive and lifetime commitment. That's where legacy lives. That's the back row. The treats so valuable that most people don't even know they exist. So here's what I want you to sit with. What's your number right now, today? What's the longest timeline you're actively committed to? Not enrolled in, not thinking about, committed to, where you wake up daily with the choice to quit and choose not to. 1 month, you're in the front row. Kit Kats and quick fixes. Nothing wrong with that, but know what you're buying. 1 year, you can see further. Meaningful transformations become possible. 5 years, now we're talking. The treats behind the first row start to glow. 10, 20, you'll discover rewards most people never even knew were options. Your answer isn't a judgment, it's a starting point. Wherever you are, you can expand from there. Imagine yourself years from now, standing in front of that vending machine again. Same glass, same hum, but this time you reach into your pocket and pull out a coin you didn't have before. Heavier, scratched, earned. You don't rush, you don't scan every option. You already know what you want, or at least what direction you're willing to wait in. You insert the coin, and as it drops inside the machine, you realize something quietly profound. Patience was never about enduring the wait. It was about becoming the kind of person who could afford to want things that take time. And maybe, just maybe, the line you've been standing in this whole time wasn't a delay at all. It was the checkout.